caused him to forget his Lord's men. O my fellow prisoners, one of you will serve his master wine, while the other will be crucified, and birds will eat from his head. The issue you inquired about has been decided. He said to the one he thought would be released, mention me to your master. But Satan caused him to forget his Lord's mention, so he remained in prison for some years. The king said, I saw 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 lean ones, and 7 green spikes of grain and others dry. O nobles, interpret my vision for me, if you can interpret visions. They replied, a jumble of dreams, and we don't know the interpretation of dreams. Then the one of the 2 who was saved, remembered after a period of time, and said, I will tell you its interpretation, so send me. Joseph, O truthful one, explain to us 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 lean ones, and 7 green spikes of grain and others dry, that I may return to the people, so they may know. He said, you will cultivate for 7 consecutive years, and what you harvest, leave it in its spikes, except for a little which you will eat. Then will follow 7 difficult years which will consume what you saved for them, except for a little of what you have stored. Then, after that, there will come a year in which the people will receive abundant rain and will press. The king said, bring him to me. And when the messenger came to him, he said, return to your master and ask him about the women who cut their hands. My lord is fully aware of their scheming. Then, when they were asked, what was your aim when you tried to seduce Joseph, what was your motive when you tried to seduce Joseph? They responded, God forbid. We know of no ill conduct on his part. The governor's wife then confessed, now the truth has now emerged. It was I who sought to seduce him, and he is truthful. This is so he may know that I didn't betray him in his absence, and that God doesn't guide the scheming of the betrayers. I don't claim innocence for myself. The soul is predisposed to evil, except those my Lord bestows mercy upon. My Lord is forgiving and merciful. The king said, bring him to me. I will appoint him exclusively for myself. When he talked to him, he said, today, you are with us established and trusted. He proposed, appoint me over the land's storehouses. I am a reliable and knowledgeable custodian. Thus, we established Joseph in the land, granting him the freedom to reside wherever he desired. We bestow our mercy upon whom we will, and we never let the reward of the righteous be lost. But, the reward of the hereafter is better for those who believe and maintain righteousness. Joseph's brothers came, and he recognized them when they arrived, but they didn't recognize him. While preparing their supplies, he said, bring me your brother from your father's side. Don't you see that I give full measure and am the best of hosts? If you don't bring him to me, you will receive no supplies from me, and you won't be permitted near me. They replied, we will convince his father to send him with us, and we will surely do it. He then instructed his servants, place their money back into their saddlebags, so they may recognize it when they return to their family, that they might return. Upon their return to their father, they pleaded, Father, we will be denied further supplies unless you send our brother with us. Indeed, we are his protectors. He replied, shall I entrust him to you, when I had previously entrusted his brother to you? But God is the best guardian, and he is the most merciful of the merciful. When they opened their bags, they discovered their money had been restored to them. They exclaimed, "Father, what more could we desire? This is our money, returned to us in full. Now, we can give food to our family, safeguard our brother, and acquire an additional load of provisions. That extra load is easily obtainable for us." He responded, "I won't send him with you, until you swear by God, that you will bring him back to me, unless you become surrounded." And when they gave him their promise, he said, "God is the overseer of what we say." He said, "My sons, don't enter from one gate, but enter from different gates. I cannot avail you against God at all. The decree belongs solely to God. I trust in Him, and upon Him, those who trust should trust." Despite entering as their father had instructed them, it didn't alter God's plan. But it was a need in Jacob's soul. He was endowed with knowledge from what we had taught him, but most people don't know. When they presented themselves to Joseph, he drew his brother close to him, and he whispered, "I am your brother, so don't be disheartened by their behavior." As he prepared their provisions, he discreetly placed the goblet in his brother's saddlebag. Then a herald shouted, "O people of the caravan! You are surely thieves." Upon being summoned, they were asked, "What have you lost?" "We lost the king's goblet," they replied. "Whoever brings it will receive a camel load, and I guarantee it." They responded, "By God, you surely know that we didn't come to cause disorder in the land, and we aren't thieves." They were further asked, "What should be his penalty if you are proven to be lying?" They replied, "His penalty, if it's found in his bag, will be that he will become yours. This is how we penalize the wrongdoers." He began with their bags before his brothers, and eventually, he retrieved it from his brother's bag. Thus did we devise a plan for Joseph. He couldn't have detained his brother under the king's law, unless God had so willed. We raise in ranks whom we will, and above every possessor of knowledge, there is one more knowledgeable. They exclaimed, "If he has stolen, a brother of his committed theft before." But Joseph kept this to himself and didn't disclose it to them. He said, "You're in a worse position, and God knows best what you describe." They pleaded, "O noble one, he has an elderly father, so take one of us in his place. We see you as a good doer." He replied, "God forbid that we should take anyone but him with whom we found our property. Otherwise, we would be unjust." When they despaired of him, they withdrew to confer privately. Their eldest said, "Don't you remember that your father received a solemn pledge from you before God, and how you were previously lax towards Joseph? I won't leave this land until my father permits me, or God decides for me. He is the best of judges. Go back to your father, and say, 'O our father, your son committed theft, and we testify only to what we know, and we couldn't guard against the unforeseen. Also, ask about the town where we've been, the caravan in which we returned. We are being truthful.'" He said, "Rather, your souls load you to something. Yet, patience is beautiful. Perhaps God will bring them all back to me. He is the all-knowing, the all-wise." Then he turned away from them, lamenting, "Oh, my grief for Joseph." His eyes turned white from grief, and he became depressed. They exclaimed, "By God, you won't stop remembering Joseph until you ruin your health, or until you pass away." He replied, "I only express my distress and anguish to God, and I know from God what you don't know. O my sons, go and search for Joseph and his brother, and never despair of God's mercy. None despairs of God's mercy except the disbelieving people. Upon entering his presence, they pleaded, Your Excellency, adversity has touched us and our family, and we brought only a paltry sum. Please, give us full measure and be charitable to us. Truly, God rewards the charitable. He asked, Do you remember what you did with Joseph and his brother in your ignorance? They exclaimed, Could you possibly be Joseph? He confirmed, I am Joseph, and this is my brother. God has indeed been gracious to us. Whoever is righteous and patient, God never wastes the reward of the good doers. They admitted, By God, truly God has preferred you over us, and we were indeed at fault. He responded, There will be no blame on you today. May God forgive you, for he is the most merciful of the merciful. Take my shirt, and lay it over my father's face, and he will regain his sight. And bring your entire family to me. As the caravan departed, their father said, I can sense the scent of Joseph, even though you think I'm senile. They replied, By God, you are still in your old delusions. When the bearer of good news arrived, he placed it on his face, and he regained his sight. He said, Didn't I tell you that I know from God what you don't know? They pleaded, O our Father, seek forgiveness for our transgressions. We were indeed in the wrong. He replied, I will seek your forgiveness from my Lord. He is the forgiving, the merciful. When they entered Joseph's presence, he embraced his parents and said, Enter Egypt, God willing, in peace and safety. He then elevated his parents upon the throne, and they fell down in prostration to him. He said, O my father, this fulfills my previous vision. My Lord made it come true. He has been good to me, releasing me from prison and bringing you from the desert after Satan had stirred up strife between me and my brothers. My Lord is most kind to whom he wills. He is the all-knowing, the all-wise. My Lord, you've granted me some authority and taught me some interpretation of events. The originator of the heavens and the earth. You're my protector in this world, and the hereafter. Receive my soul in submission, and unite me with the righteous. These are some of the narratives that we reveal to you. You weren't present with them when they conspired and agreed on their plan. Despite your eagerness, most people aren't believers. You ask for no compensation for it. It is merely a reminder to all of humanity. How many signs in the heavens and on earth do they pass by, yet they turn away from them? Most of them don't believe in God without associating others with him. Are they confident that an encompassing calamity from God won't come upon them, or that the hour won't come upon them suddenly while they don't realize? Say, this is my way. I call to God with insight. I and those who follow me. Praise be to God, and I am not among the polytheists. We sent none before you, except men whom we inspired, chosen from among the people of the towns. Didn't they travel through the earth and observe the aftermath of those who preceded them? The home of the hereafter is better for the righteous. Will you not, then, use reason? When the messengers despaired, and thought that they were denied, our help came to them. We save whom we will, and our wrath can't be repelled from the criminal people. In their stories, there are lessons for those of understanding. It is not an invented tale, but a confirmation of what preceded it, a detailed explanation of everything, and guidance and mercy for those who believe. In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful. Alif, Lam, Mim, Ra. These are the verses of the scripture. What was revealed to you from your Lord is the truth, yet most people don't believe. It is God who raised the skies without any pillars you can see, then he established himself upon the throne. He subjected the sun and the moon, each running for a set term. He conducts all affairs and explains the signs, so that you may be certain of meeting your Lord. It is he who spread the earth, placed mountains and rivers on it, and of every fruit, he made therein two mates. He covers the night with the day. In that are signs for people who give thought. On earth are adjacent terrains, vineyards, fields of crops, and date palms, from shared or separate roots, irrigated with the same water. We make some taste better than others. In this are signs for people who reason. If you're amazed, even amazing is their statement. When we are dust, will we be created anew? These are the ones who denied their Lord. They will have shackles around their necks. They will be the inhabitants of the fire, dwelling therein forever.